appropriately titled Rabbit Hole. Please give a round welcome for Mindy Gledhill.
Thank you so much. I just want to soak this in for a minute. This is beautiful for me to be in a room full of my people. That's what I feel about creatives. You're my people. Mark, you're taller than me.
Sorry.
Here, you do that, I'll do this. So as I was driving into Salt Lake City this morning, right when you get off the 600 South exit, I don't know if anyone has ever noticed, but I noticed it today. On the left-hand side, there's a big sign on kind of a rundown building, and it's spray painted the Rabbit Hole. And as I drove in this morning and saw that, I literally out loud by myself in my car, I went, "What?" And I just laughed out loud because it was just this really cool synchronicity of me just being on my way here to talk to you about the Rabbit Hole, which is what my upcoming project is entitled. And I feel like it's been this journey through chaos. So I was just really excited to be able to come today and talk about this theme with you. And I'd just like to start by reading the first page in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? So she was considering in her own mind, as well as she could, for the hot day made her feel very sleepy and stupid, whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her. There was nothing so very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it was so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be too late." When she thought it over afterwards, it occurred to her that she ought to have wondered at this, but at the time it all seemed quite natural. But when the rabbit actually took a watch out of its waistcoat pocket and looked at it, and then hurried on, Alice started to her feet, for it flashed across her mind that she had never before seen a rabbit with either a waistcoat pocket or a watch to take out of it. And, burning with curiosity, she ran across the field after it and was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. In another moment, down went Alice after it, never once considering how in the world she was going to get out again. The rabbit hole went straight on like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped suddenly down, so suddenly that Alice had not a moment to think about stopping herself before she found herself falling down what seemed to be a very deep well. Either the well was very deep, or she fell very slowly, for she had plenty of time as she went down to look about her and to wonder what was going to happen next. First she tried to look down and make out what she was coming to, but it was too dark to see anything. Then she looked at the sides of the well and noticed that they were filled with cupboards and bookshelves. Here and there she saw maps and pictures hung upon pegs. She took down a jar from one of the shelves. As she passed it, it was labeled orange marmalade. But to her great disappointment, it was empty. She did not like to drop the jar for fear of killing someone underneath, so she managed to put it on one of the cupboards as she fell past it. Well, thought Alice to herself, after such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they'll all think me at home. Why, I wouldn't say anything about it, even if I fell off the top of a house, which was very likely true. Down, down, down. Would the fall never come to an end? You should have a paper and a pen. If you don't, raise your hand and we'll get one to you. Great. as I was preparing this album, as I was searching for things to convey my feelings and my journey, I did this exercise, and I wanted to try it with you today. It's kind of like the morning pages in The Artist's Way. I don't know if anyone has read that book, probably quite a few of you, by Julia Cameron. So this exercise that she does is you write down it's like a brain dump, everything that there's no like intention to make this a creative piece of prose. It can be a bunch of mumbo jumbo, make no sense at all. But one twist that I add to it is that I do it all with my eyes closed. So I just want you to do a brain dump for the next 1 to 2 minutes, closing your eyes. So your paper will look like a bunch of scribbles when you're done, if that makes sense. So everyone close your eyes, put your pen to paper, and just write the first things that come to your mind. Don't think about it, just write, just go. Okay, just a couple more seconds here and you can finish up. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Cool. A psychologist named Robert Builder said that creativity is at the edge of chaos. And I think our minds are so wired for chaos. There's just so much, especially in the age of information, so much going on. And I think that this exercise really helped me to like put all the chaos out on a page. And I think it helped catapult me into creativity after it was something that I would do day after day, and it just helped me to get in that zone. So I just wanted to have you try it out, see how it felt. I think it helps me clear my mind when I'm about to create. But I wanted to dive into this chaos with you, this journey of creating, and I think the best way for me to do that is to tell you my story and how I got to be where I am right now. So I think from the age of 13, it was pretty clear to me that I wanted to be a singer and a musician. And I wasn't formally trained in music. I had piano lessons in elementary school, but that was about it. But I had a little cassette recorder, and I would sit down at the piano, and I would write my songs on the piano. And there was just this connection that I felt, this fulfillment. I loved that feeling of creating music, and it resonated so much with me. And so I didn't have music lessons at that time in my life, and I was just like kind of reaching for whatever opportunities were out there for me to create music. And I think by the time I was 16, I had been living in Spain, when I was 13 to 16. So that's kind of when these feelings started to happen for me. And when I was 16, we moved to Utah. And it was a new experience for me to be in an American high school. And American high schools have all of these extracurricular activities and the school musical and the dance team. And so for me, I started to have all of these musical opportunities around me, and I was so drawn to that. So I tried out for the school musical that year that I moved to Utah. I didn't make it. And I auditioned for the chamber choir, and I didn't get in. I auditioned for the dance company. Nope. And I kept doing this and kept trying out for things, and I just couldn't make it into anything. So I felt like, okay, I could either let that mean that I'm not good at this and I should just give it up, or I could let it ignite this little fire inside of me. And I could try different ways of achieving what I want to achieve. And so I decided to do that, and I got an internship at a recording studio. And that was like a whole new world for me. The aspect of recording was just a new concept for me. And I started a band in high school, and I signed up to sing at the school assemblies. And I got a job to pay for voice lessons because my parents couldn't afford that at the time, and I wanted it so badly. So I got my first job making smoothies for minimum wage at a smoothie shop. And I paid for my voice lessons. And the ball started rolling, and things started to kind of happen for me. And my voice teacher one day said, you should go, we should book a recording session for you, and you should record some songs so that you can see what that feels like. So that sounded super exciting to me. So we booked this session at a recording studio called Rosewood Recording Studios. It's in Provo. And the day came for me to go to this session, and everything went wrong. It was like everything was preventing me from going. No one was home at my house to give me a ride. So I called up my friend Scott, who played drums in the band I had started. And he was kind enough to say, I'll take you, I'll give you a ride. So he came and picked me up. And on our way there, his car overheated. But we weren't too far from the studio when it overheated, and he pulled over. And so I got out and I ran the rest of the way to the studio, and I got there, and my voice teacher, who had booked it and was going to come be there with me, never showed up. And I was only 16, so it was a little bit like I felt a little bit out of my element, just being there kind of alone without an adult. But I did the recording session, and then in the middle of the session, something went wrong with the gear, and I was sitting there for over an hour, not knowing what was going on, but it all worked itself out, and I recorded the songs, and then at the end they told me how much it was going to cost, and I didn't have enough money, and it was just, and I somehow got off the hook and got my little karaoke recordings, because that's what I had. I took some karaoke tapes to the studio. But it was just, again, this magical feeling, and I knew I was where I was supposed to be, and it all worked out. And I found out later that my voice teacher, her husband had taken his life that day, and that's why she didn't show up. And so for me, that was one of the first, experiences where chaos was very obvious to me. But how it created this beautiful story of overcoming, where without that, I just feel like I wouldn't have had to work for this thing, and it maybe wouldn't have felt so fulfilling. So I did that, graduated from high school, and then got into college and wanted to major in music. And again, no formal training, and most colleges that have credible music programs, you have to audition, you have to test to get in. So I had to do those things. So the test to get into the music school, they give you 3 chances to take it. I took it the first time and failed. I had no theory background, so I was guessing on everything. I took it the second time, guessing again on everything, and I failed. I took it the third time, guessing on everything, and I passed it by 1 point. So I got that out of the way. And I think by this time in my life, I had auditioned for so many things and had not gotten in, that it just sort of built up this muscle that helped me be able to get in front of a panel of judges and not be so afraid. So I did well in my audition, And that was the first thing I ever really got into that I auditioned for, was the School of Music. So after that, again, the ball started rolling for me. Things started happening. I got a record deal my freshman year in the program. And I learned a lot from that and released an album. And then the age of YouTube and MySpace started to be a thing and would allow independents to like create music and be heard on the other side of the world. So I was able to buy my way out of my contract with my record label and release my first independent album. It's called Feather in the Wind. And it made back like what it cost to make the album within the first few months of releasing it. And so I was able to tour with that and make some money on that, and then make enough money to pay for my next album, which was called Anchor. And then the ball just started rolling from there, and Anchor opened the door to a lot of opportunities for me with licensing music to TV and film and performing. And I made a few more projects after Anchor, and now I'm at my current project, The Rabbit Hole. So you will be the first people to see. I wanted to bring today the artwork for Rabbit Hole. It's still a little bit rough and in draft mode, but I'll pass it around. Maybe I'll just show you, like, this is, again, rough printer, like, made a Kinko's mock-up of what the CD will be like, but all of my albums have a die cut on the front. I really think that print is still really important, and like caring about the artwork of your physical goods is really important. So I think about these things, but here's our keyhole and our rabbit. And we open up to these different levels of it, and then the CD inside will be a clock. So I'll just pass these around. And this is the vinyl. Oh, sorry. Look. Here. So the whole experience of making this album for me was a rabbit hole in and of itself, and in fact, rabbit holes within rabbit holes. And I just feel like our art is there to teach us something. I feel like most often it is this chaotic experience. It's like Alice falling down that rabbit hole, and there's this whirlwind of things around you. But what I really love about the imagery of Alice is that she's falling down this hole, but she comes to a point where she's like starts to like slow down, and she's kind of going down in slow motion, and these things around her, and she like reaches out for some marmalade, opens it, oh, it's empty, puts it back, and she's just so like zen in the middle of that experience of maps and books and all of these things around her. And I just think that if we can get to that point where we can appreciate all of these things that are around us in the chaos of creating and appreciate them as resources that are available to us, that chaos can be something we don't have to fight, that we can make it our friend. So I feel like that's the lesson that I've continued to learn through creating this album. I set out to record these songs in upstate New York with some producers I really admired. And we recorded these songs, and they were beautiful, and I was content with them. And when I walked out of the studio, after we finished recording Rabbit Hole, there was a rabbit sitting there on the lawn, I kid you not, right in front of me. And it just scampered off into the woods after like we made eye contact. But it was, for me, I was like, oh wow, this must be a sign that I'm in the right place at the right time. But I did not know that that would be the first of 3 more recordings of that song. And I think it's too long of a story to tell, but that was not the final version that will be on the album. So I ended up recording the song again with another producer, and then it just didn't feel right to me. It didn't work out. And so then I recorded it again in Los Angeles with another producer, and I recorded another bonus track edition of the song that ended up not working out either. And it was just kind of this journey of like having to find what felt like the truest version of this song for me. And it caused a lot of drama. So there was a lot of, people involved that thought that their version was going to be on the album, and it didn't end up being on the album. And it just, and this continued with other songs on the album. So it was kind of this big, messy, tangled journey through different rabbit holes and teaching me different lessons and teaching me how to own my voice in the middle of all of it. And to be able to stand my ground as the artist, where I had different producers that wanted different things and management that wanted different things for the album. And I really needed to get centered with what I wanted for the album. So I think as artists, that's the most important in the middle of all of this chaos is what are we trying to say? And what is the most important thing for us in the middle of everyone else's voices? So I'm really excited to release this album. One more story about rabbits for you as I end here. The week that it all kind of came together, and I chose the final versions of the songs that will be on the final album. The album was getting mastered, and there was just, again, a lot of drama and having to let people down. It was really hard. In the middle of all this, my son brought home a rabbit. A pet rabbit. And him being oblivious to really what this all means to me and what I was going through. It had nothing to do with me and rabbits. He brought home this pet rabbit and said, "This is for my girlfriend. I'm giving it to her as a gift. So we won't be keeping it." So I was like, okay. So the parents of said girlfriend said, "We can't keep a rabbit." So we inherited this pet rabbit. And in the middle of the chaos and the culminating moments of the album coming together, the rabbit died. One morning I walked out and I thought it was dead. But then I noticed that it was moving, so I picked it up and it was still breathing and I carried it inside. It's actually kind of sad. I woke up my son and I said, the rabbit's name is Cow. It's white with black spots. And I just said, "I think Cow is dying." So he woke up and we both tried to kind of bring Cow back and resuscitate him, but he just wasn't going to make it. So he died, and for me, it was just another symbol of like, just this project is ready. It's ready to be released. Like you've done the work and you've gone through the chaos and you've sat with it and you've allowed it to have meaning. And it's ready to move on, and you're ready to move on to the next adventure. And that's what we felt about Cow. He was ready to move on to whatever the next adventure is. And I just feel like when we're in the spaces where we need to be, these synchronicities and these beautiful moments will show up for us. So can I share Rabbit Hole with you, the song?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to perform it. This is Sophie Blair. Sophie headlined at Velour last night in Provo and was kind enough to wake up early this morning and play viola. So thanks for being here, Sophie. I feel like chaos and order are like this yin and yang balance that we need both, right? So I'm going to play Rabbit Hole for you, and then I want to play one more song called Anchor, which is kind of one of my more grounded songs, and just kind of juxtapose the chaos and the order for you. Little one, you're on the run, like a flickering shadow in the sinking sun. You've covered many miles now, too many miles for being so terribly young. swallow the river of your tears while they're falling down the rabbit hole is terrifying and wonderful. Crawling through the rabbit hole is death-defying and beautiful. Even when you're broken, there are always doors to open, new dimensions to explore, but you won't know until you're in 1,000 pieces on the floor. And you're falling down the rabbit
We get another round of applause from Mindy.
Thank you.
Well, one thing I want to encourage you all, we didn't have anyone this month, but we'd love to start having 60-second shots for our attendees. Those would be 60 seconds for you to promote something going on in your creative world, whether it be you need to hire someone, you've got a new project coming on, anything that you would like. We'd love you to get in touch with us and let us know. And we'll give you 60 seconds before the speaker next month. We're going to be hearing a talk on honesty, and hope to see you then. So thank you for coming out, and happy Creative Mornings. Does anyone have any questions for Mindy?
Are you going to sign?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I brought CDs for the first however many people came in, but I think it wasn't communicated maybe, so if you want one, whoever reaches them first can have one, and I'd be happy to sign.
Are you releasing this on Spotify and everything?
Yeah, so Rabbit Hole, the single for Rabbit Hole releases on November 9th on Spotify and iTunes and wherever you want to stream or download music online. And then the actual full album will release January 25th. So thank you for asking. Yes?
What's the inspiration behind Anchor?
Anchor for me was, I think it was a song that was on the forefront of change for me, just in my own personal life. I was just kind of on the verge of going through just a huge metamorphosis. And so for me, it was like, it kind of began as like a conversation with like whatever deity I might be out there. And then my songs kind of evolve in meaning as I write them, because some take a long time to write. That one took, I don't know, it took a while, but I feel like it evolved to be this, for me, my family. It's really about my family. I'm not a very predictable person, and I'm not what's the word? I'm an introvert, so I like to be alone a lot. And so I think sometimes that's difficult for them, but for me it ended up kind of being this ode to my family. So yeah. Any other questions? This is a quiet bunch. Oh yeah.
What was it like hearing one of your songs on TV or something?
Really cool. No, it was, yeah. I mean, it was super cool because it was something it was a goal that I had written down like in my journal, and it was cool to like see it happen. Yeah, thanks.
What other goals are in your journal?
I would like to have my songs in feature films. So I've had my songs in independent films, but I really would love to see them in a feature, like in a theater. That hasn't happened yet. It will. Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Do you think chaos is something to be harnessed or tamed?
I don't think it can be tamed. And I don't know that it can be harnessed either. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have the right answer to that, but for me personally, I feel like it's something that we shouldn't make wrong. I don't think chaos is wrong, and I don't think we should fight it. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's a resource that's available to us. And I think if we don't make it wrong, that we can sit with it, we can sit to tea with it, and see what it has to offer us. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, it will always be there. It's not going away. Hey, buddy.
Was it a rabbit?
It's a rabbit. Someone's washing the windows. Yes.
Other than Rabbit Hole, which song holds the most emotional significance to you?
Anchor. Yeah, Yeah, Anchor, because it's a song where I fell apart in the making of it, and really discovered that my family was there. They were my anchor. My kids, they are what I feel like ultimately give meaning to all of my writing.
So those two are truly your yin and yang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of religious.
I have, yeah.
Do you see yourself doing a lot more of that, or do you see yourself doing more mainstream work?
I feel like all of my songs are spiritual, And so I don't feel that I don't practice religion anymore. I practice spirituality. So for me, it never really stopped, like in my mind. But I don't write songs per se about religion or Christianity anymore. Yeah, but for me, still spiritual. Anyone else? Yeah.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
You did a song last year with the DJ, I can't think of his name. How did it come about?
You might be thinking of Hive Riot or Cascade. I don't know. Cascade, yeah, that was a couple years ago. Yeah, I've done 4 songs with Cascade, and your question was, how did that turn out? Is that what you said?
How did you end up even doing that? That's what I was.
Yeah. Cascade's producer, both of his producers are, one lives in Salt Lake, one lives in Provo. So they're local, and I think, being in the music industry here, people know each other. And it's interesting because when I first went independent, I approached one of those producers to produce my album, and it wasn't the right timing. He was making a lot of money doing music for really big people. And so we didn't work together, but then some years down the road, we ended up crossing paths again, and the timing was better to work together. And it was on Cascade stuff, and so it worked out to work with him then. But for me, that was a lesson in when someone says no, it's not always a bad thing, and it might just be timing, and you might cross paths later. We don't need to put too much meaning on those no's. Yeah. Anyone else? Awesome. I have a question for you all. I would love to take a picture of this group for my Instagram. So if you don't want to be in the picture, you can, get out. Just get out of here. No. But I'd love for you to be in it. Okay. Maybe I should be in it too. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
And each month, actually, when the themes are announced, we actually have a custom illustration, and so I really encourage you to go and see it.
Oh, there's the deal. Speaking of chaos.
We planned that.
Wow, that was excellent.